The radical power of softness. Why vulnerability is your greatest leadership asset. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast. I'm thrilled to be here today sharing insights from my recent conversation with Tameka Lee, a visionary leader who is transforming how we think about authentic leadership, particularly for Black women. Tameka isn't just changing the conversation around leadership, she's revolutionizing it. Through her groundbreaking work empowering women to embrace their full selves, including their vulnerability, she has created ripples of transformation that have touched countless lives across industries and communities. Her impact extends far beyond her impressive list of accomplishments. She's creating a permission structure for an entirely new generation of leaders to show up authentically, to lead with both strength and softness, and to redefine success on their own terms. For generations, we've been told a compelling story about what makes a good leader: strong, decisive, unwavering, never showing weakness. This narrative has been particularly burdensome for Black women, who often face the double bind of both racial and gender stereotypes. The pressure to be twice as good, twice as strong, twice as resilient has created a suffocating weight that many carry silently. But what if this conventional wisdom is fundamentally flawed? What if the very qualities we've been taught to hide, our vulnerability, our authenticity, our emotional transparency, are actually secret weapons in effective leadership? This is the counterintuitive truth I discovered in my conversation with Tameka Lee. And it's not just challenging how we think about leadership, it's completely transforming how successful leaders operate in today's complex world. We've been sold a myth: the myth that vulnerability equals weakness, the myth that showing emotion undermines authority, the myth that being authentic somehow diminishes your power. But here's what's fascinating: when we look at the evidence, when we examine the leaders who are creating the most significant positive change in their organizations and communities, we find something surprising. The most effective leaders aren't those who project invulnerability, they're those who have the courage to be seen fully, authentically, with all their strengths, and yes, their softness too. This is particularly revolutionary for Black women, who have long been expected to embody strength at all costs. As Tameka shared with me, for Black professionals, especially Black women, there's often pressure to always be strong and resilient. But I've learned through my own transformation that allowing yourself to be seen, flaws and all, creates deeper trust with your team, fosters innovation, and draws opportunities you might never have imagined. Let me share with you three powerful insights from my conversation with Tameka that challenge everything we thought we knew about effective leadership. First, embracing vulnerability is not weakness, it's actually strength. Your willingness to share your authentic journey, including the setbacks, can unlock new pathways for growth in both business and life. Second, purpose driven leadership transforms communities. When you align your work with a larger mission or calling, not just profit, you inspire others to join you and create lasting impact. And third, balance is not just possible, it's necessary. Pursuing professional excellence while nurturing faith, wellness, and relationships isn't just aspirational, it's essential for sustainable success. Let's explore these ideas through the stories of three remarkable women who embody this new paradigm of leadership. Consider Tameka Sherry Bond, founder of Bond Containers, the first Black woman owned self sustainable container home manufacturing facility in America. When I first heard her story, I was struck by the magnitude of what she's accomplished in an industry that wasn't designed for her success. Imagine walking into boardrooms dominated by men who've been in the construction business for generations. Imagine seeking funding in a system where less than 1% of venture capital goes to Black women founders. Imagine trying to revolutionize housing in communities that have been systematically denied access to safe, affordable homes for decades. This was Bond's reality. The conventional approach would be to try to fit in, to downplay differences, to project only strength and certainty, to hide any hint of doubt or struggle. But Bond took a different path. She was transparent about her mission, addressing the housing crisis exacerbated by the pandemic. She openly shared her vision of creating homes that were not just structures, but solutions: affordable, sustainable, resilient. And perhaps most radically, she invited her community into her journey, opening up investment opportunities through equity crowdfunding platforms. I wanted people who look like me to have a stake in this solution, she explained. This isn't just my company, it belongs to the communities it serves. The results? Her company now builds affordable modular homes that can be constructed in as little as 3 weeks. They're energy efficient, disaster resistant, and crucially, accessible to communities historically locked out of home ownership. By positioning her company within a $175 billion global market while staying true to her mission of community transformation, Bond demonstrates how authentic, purpose driven leadership creates both business success and social impact. Or consider Tameka Young, founder of the National Association for Kidpreneurs. Young's story begins with a question that haunted her: what if I had learned entrepreneurship as a child? How different would my journey have been? Young grew up without seeing entrepreneurs who looked like her. When she eventually found her way into business ownership, she faced steep learning curves and barriers that seemed designed to keep her out. The conventional response might have been to focus solely on her own success, to prove the doubters wrong through individual achievement. Instead, Young chose a more vulnerable path. She openly shared her struggles, her fears, and her vision of a world where children of color wouldn't have to wait until adulthood to discover their entrepreneurial potential. She faced skepticism about whether youth entrepreneurship programs could succeed in underserved areas. She encountered the funding gaps common among minority led nonprofits. But rather than hiding these challenges, she leveraged her personal story to build partnerships across education sectors, recruit mentors from diverse industries, and create national events to spotlight young talent. I'm not just teaching kids how to start businesses, she says. I'm showing them they belong in spaces they've been told aren't for them. Today, hundreds of children have launched micro businesses under her guidance. The organization has received national recognition from business leaders. And perhaps most importantly, the initiative is shifting cultural perceptions about who gets to lead and when, while building generational wealth starting at childhood. This is the power of authentic leadership, not despite vulnerability, but because of it. And then there's Tameka Stanton, whose story takes this principle beyond the business world. Stanton graduated alongside her son, Tomente Stanton Jones, from Shaw University, a powerful testament to personal perseverance and communal uplift through education. Imagine the courage it takes to return to school as a single mother with financial constraints and responsibilities that don't pause for midterms or finals. Imagine the vulnerability required to sit in classrooms alongside students the age of your own child. Imagine the strength it takes to model educational perseverance for your son, even on days when you're exhausted and questioning your own path. Stanton didn't pretend it was easy. She was open about the challenges, leveraging family support networks within their HBCU community while prioritizing mutual accountability between mother and son toward academic goals. The result? Both achieved their degrees together, a rare feat celebrated nationally as an example of the intergenerational ambition paying off. Their story was featured on major news outlets, recognizing them as symbols of Black excellence. And perhaps most significantly, their accomplishment inspired other non traditional students, including working parents, to return confidently to educational spaces, knowing they too could succeed regardless of circumstance. What these stories reveal is a profound truth that Tameka Lee articulated so beautifully in our conversation. Softness, defined as vulnerability, transparency, and emotional authenticity, is not a liability, it's a superpower. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds good in theory, but in the real world, doesn't vulnerability make you a target? Doesn't transparency expose you to criticism? Doesn't authenticity risk undermining your authority? These are valid concerns, and they reflect the very real challenges that many face, particularly Black women in professional spaces. But here's what the evidence shows: the risks of vulnerability are real, but they're outweighed by the rewards. When leaders have the courage to be authentic, they create psychological safety for their teams. They foster environments where innovation flourishes because people feel safe to take risks. They build deeper trust with stakeholders, and they model a more sustainable, humane way of achieving excellence. This is particularly powerful for Black women leaders who have often been caught in what Tameka calls the superwoman trap: the expectation to be endlessly strong, resilient, and capable, the permission to embrace softness, to acknowledge limits, to prioritize well being alongside achievement. This isn't just personally liberating, it's transformative for organizations and communities. But let me be clear, this isn't about abandoning strength, it's about redefining it. True strength isn't the absence of vulnerability, it's having the courage to be vulnerable. It's not about never needing help, it's about having the wisdom to ask for it. It's not about hiding your authentic self, it's about having the confidence to bring your whole self to your work in leadership. As Tameka shared with me, this integration of strength and softness creates a powerful foundation for purpose driven leadership that transforms communities. When you align your work with a larger mission or calling, not just profit, you inspire others to join you and create lasting impact. We see this in Bond's commitment to sustainable, affordable housing. We see it in Young's dedication to empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs. We see it in Stanton's modeling of educational achievement across generations. And we can see it in our own lives and leadership if we have the courage to embrace this new paradigm. So I challenge you today: what would your leadership look like if you stopped hiding parts of yourself? What innovation might emerge if you created spaces where others felt safe to be authentic? What impact might you have if you aligned your work with your deepest purpose? The world doesn't need more leaders who are perfect. It needs leaders who are real, who understand that their power lies not in appearing flawless, but in being fully human, who recognize that their vulnerability isn't something to overcome, but something to embrace. This is the radical power of softness, and it just might be the most revolutionary leadership principle of our time. Take one bold step this week toward more authentic leadership. Share something you've been hiding. Ask for help where you need it. Align your work more closely with your purpose. Create space for others to bring their full selves. And watch what happens when you lead not just with strength, but with softness too. The future of leadership isn't about being invulnerable. It's about having the courage to be seen fully, authentically, powerfully. Are you ready to embrace the radical power of your softness?